I firstly ask that all town councillors who attend these virtual meetings put their video cameras on, because I'm finding that in a lot of these meetings we can hear the councillors but we can't see them, even though we can see their name up on the screen. So that would indicate that they haven't got their video camera on. Now, whilst it's okay for a member of the public not to have their video camera on, although I don't think that's acceptable either, yes, thank you. Town councillors should. This is a public meeting, and as a public meeting, we should see the camera. So I don't think Paul Gardner's got his camera on at the moment. And it's really important. You've got to remember, this is a formal public meeting for the town council, and that's really important. So I'd like to see all councillors having their...
That's a really good point, Annette. I think if I switch mine on, I go all fuzzy, I've just been told. So
well, you're fine. I can see you clearly when it's on. There's bound to be reception problems at times, but we should have them on. So I'm saying again, Paul Gardner, I don't think has got his on, and he's the chair of the town council, although he's not chairing this committee meeting. As town councillors, you should be visible to the public you represent.
I think there might be some question on whether Ben can be, because he could be anywhere from Cornwall to some other weird place that might not even have a link enough for voice, never mind camera. So
well, I think it's something you need to pay attention to. Now, I've just got to, I wasn't going to speak tonight, but having listened to the introduction and also Mrs Townsend's comment, I have to speak. And I'm going to start with the Alliance Homes presentation from the other week, and also the fact of Marina Gardens. And when I asked the question, now this was discussed at town council meetings, I'm astonished that we've got town councillors tonight who don't seem to know anything about it, or perhaps their memory isn't as good as members of the public. It was discussed, and in fact, if you look back at the videos on YouTube of town council meetings, I actually asked the question, and I believe it was at a full council meeting, and Councillor Gardner's response to me was, at the moment our plans to leave and consider the ground floor of the Marina Gardens, his words were, is on hold. Not that it's never been discussed, it's on hold. So that tells me that you have discussed it. Now, if there's town councillors present tonight who don't know anything about it, then as a resident, I would like to know why that information is not being shared with other town councillors. So it's not good enough, I'm afraid, to say, we don't know anything about it. You are town councillors and you should be sharing information. So I'd like a response on that, because I've got the videos of you saying it to me. So it's unbelievable you're saying that tonight. With regard to Esplanade Road and the enforcement officer, I appreciate that North Somerset Council can be at times notoriously difficult to communicate with. But at the same time, that can be said of town council as well. And it's something you complained about at the old administration, yet we have the new administration doing exactly the same. Now, when North Somerset Council gets difficult with communication with me, I become more assertive. I don't become aggressive, I become assertive. I ask questions of them. I ask for time frames. I find out why they're not able to do what they've promised to do, or what they've been contracted to do, or negotiated to do. But what we seem to have every time we have a meeting is, oh, well, we've written another reminder, and good for Martin. So I almost called you Martin Dalton then, but good for Martin that Martin said, well, we've done this 3 times now. Well, after the first time, you need to be asking, with greatest respect, for time scales. You need to be giving them time dates as to when to get back to you. And if Councillor Tonkin, it's easy for him to just not respond, or just say, oh, I'd like the same, but things move slowly. That's not good enough. You know, we need to have timescales. You know, you need to be getting engaged with what's happening, who you're going to have to do this post, because surely this enforcement officer is going to be interviewed by Portishead Town Council. I don't know I'd like to know whether you are going to interview it, because whilst the salary is going to be paid for you, I know North Somerset Council are going to do the contract, but you've surely got to be involved in who's actually going to take on this position. Yes, we know they're going to be working across the district, and we're not going to have the time for Portishead that we were promised by you to have the time. But there's got to come a time when, as I said to you before on Old Mill Road, you've got to challenge, you've got to obtain information, and you've got to give timescales. You know, how can you have a project and manage it properly if there's no control over it? And that's what I feel now in town council meetings. We're given an answer, but there doesn't seem to be any controls or definitions as to when something is going to be done. Yes, we all know we've been in a COVID pandemic, but let's face it, most people are working from home anyway. I don't think it's a good enough excuse. And some of the problems I'm having with North Somerset Council, I've addressed and I've taken them to the top. I'm not going to just be fobbed off with simple answers, because, you know, if necessary, I will take it further to the bodies that are there to hold those people to account. And you're in a position that you could do exactly the same. So I think that really more or less covered it, really. But going back to the cameras, people's cameras still are not on.